black and white.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Today I've got a very controversial one where I'm going to be ranking the best Premier League atmosphere from the likes of Norwich, Aston Villa, Brighton, Man United, Man City, Liverpool, all the top teams, all the shit teams, and we're going to be ranking them from tin pot to a nice proper atmosphere. People seem to be liking the tier listing video, so that's another one we go doing today, and I got a suggestion on my Instagram saying to make this video in general, so I'm going to be making this. So thank you to the guys suggesting me making this video, because I'm going to be ranking every single Premier League club's atmosphere, from proper atmosphere, great atmosphere, okay atmosphere, shit atmosphere, and tin pot atmosphere. This is going off the home atmosphere from every single club. This is not the away atmosphere, this is the home atmosphere just as a general. And I know I'll take into consideration that it's Brighton and it's not the most exciting game fans are going to be going up for, but from personal experience of going to the games, I'm going to be judging it from that, to be honest. And if you were shit against Brighton, then I'm going to be putting a shit on it. So I mean, it's going to be as honest and as brutal as it could possibly be. But I'm going to be honest, I'm going to be honest. So make sure you drop a like, subscribe to our channel, and let's see who we rank in our specific places then. So considering Brighton is actually first on the list, I'm going to rate Brighton's atmosphere first. I'm going to set the standards. I'm going to be setting the standards and actually rating it to the best ability and best on what I think personally. Now, I'll be honest, last season for Brighton, it wasn't one where you can just cheer about every single week at home, and because that is because of Chris Hughton's football. We're losing against teams like Bournemouth, Burnley, Southampton, all teams like that, and we've already lost against Southampton this year. But ranking Brighton's atmosphere against the teams like Crystal Palace is one way you just can't compare it to any other fixture in the Premier League in terms of Brighton's fixtures and results, because it is a derby and it's obviously taken out of consideration of the game. But in my opinion, I think Brighton atmosphere is not a great atmosphere, and I don't think it's a proper atmosphere. And I am going to be rating it as an okay atmosphere, because I don't think it's the greatest and I don't think it's the worst. Obviously, Brighton's only signalling section is basically designated in the North Stand, to be honest, and maybe the West stuff it had to push. But other than that, I don't think Brighton's atmosphere is actually amazing. It's not really amazing. I mean, you have the odd chance and the odd moments in the games where it's like, yes, it gets us off our feet and actually makes us want to chant as much as, you know, any other moment does. Because last year we didn't have anything to cheer about, if I'm being honest. Man United was a great one. Crystal Palace was a great one. Other than that, I'm not really sure on other any fixture where it was like, oh my god, the atmosphere was unreal. Maybe Huddersfield at home at times, potentially, because we're urging the team forward and that, etc. That's probably the only one I can probably give a shout there. Next one I'm going to be putting out, let's go with Leicester City. I'll be honest, I've been to Leicester twice now, and I have not been impressed whatsoever by either time. And I'll tell you what, they had the odd chance, but was it enough to give it an okay atmosphere though? That's what I'm pretty much saying. It's not a great, it's not a proper atmosphere, if I'm being honest. And I just don't think Leicester have got an overall great atmosphere, if I'm being totally honest, and that's just me pretty well witnessing it two times now. From the first away game of the Premier League season, and the first season we've been in the Premier League, and the second season that was a night game, it wasn't great at all. And in my opinion, I'm going to put Leicester City as a shit atmosphere. Comparing that to Brighton's one, it could be a bit biased, but I mean, I'm going to be honest, and from what I've seen from Brighton versus Leicester, that's what we put in Leicester as in this opinion. Now let's go with a tin pot one, and that is of course Manchester City. I mean, there's nothing to talk about there, is it? You've got tin pot fans with a tin pot atmosphere. It's not great. It's not great at City. I've been once to City. Other one for the obviously vlogging awards, which was not a atmosphere related one in terms of that. But Man City for me, I think that is a tin pot atmosphere, if I'm being honest. It's just not great. It just isn't, let's be honest. Now let's go with a kind of debatable. We've got Burnley. Now both times I've seen Brighton versus Burnley at Burnley in the away end, obviously Burnley have beaten us, and I'm going to be honest, it has been a good atmosphere, but putting it great, I think that would be a bit of a push, considering there's only like one section, and I do think I'm going to be putting it as an okay atmosphere in terms of the home at Turf Moor. You can even see from like visitors vlogs that it is a good atmosphere when it gets rocking and gets going and getting behind the team, etc. But for me, I think Burnley is an okay atmosphere. Would be a good one to list out, if I'm being honest. Now I think we got to get one in a kind of a proper atmosphere, if I'm being totally honest with you, and that is Aston Villa. You've got to be honest, atmosphere at Aston Villa is unbelievable. I've actually never experienced it. I know I'm putting this as a proper atmosphere. I've never actually been to Villa Park in my life. But you can see in videos, Villa on Tour, a perfect prime example where their atmosphere that you can see in their vlogs, you can see the whole end in general, where you can see on Twitter, you can see videos all over YouTube, but they've got a proper atmosphere, they get proper crowds in every single week, and in my opinion, I think Aston Villa have got the full lot from home and away support for their club as a proper atmosphere. West Ham United, I'm going to be rating this, it's hard to tell with this one. But for me, I'm going to be certain this is a shit atmosphere, because I think West Ham fans will get onto my case if I do put it as a tin pot atmosphere, because they have the odd chance, West Ham, but as shit, I'm going to be saying they only have the odd chance, maybe like irons and bloody forever blowing bubbles. That's the only loud song they have, and other than that they don't really have any other loud songs they use. Home and away, that's the only chant they sing, and I'm being honest with that one, and I don't think you can kind of class that as a great atmosphere if you just started chanting one song, if I'm being totally honest with you. I don't think Watford's atmosphere at all is the greatest. It just isn't. I didn't go to the 3-0 win this year. I didn't go for last year's or the year before that away games too, where we lost. Or Andrew, I just don't think it's great whatsoever. I mean, I don't think they've got any proper chants of which they chant, to be honest. They've only got that one section at the back, but you just can't hear them, if I'm being honest. From our end anyway, we couldn't hear them at all, and I'm being honest, I'm going to be putting Watford as a 10-point atmosphere because you can't hear them for one, and number two, the fans which turn up to the game is non-existent at times. This is going to be another debatable one. I don't know how to say this one because I think these fans are going to be getting onto my case. This is going to be my controversial one. And I know this is against Brighton, but I'm going to be putting it anyway. Everton as 10 foot. I'm just going to be honest. You can't classify it as a shit atmosphere, or an okay atmosphere, or a great atmosphere, or a proper atmosphere as just chanting Everton, 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 Everton. You just can't, I'm sorry, you can't. That is the only chant Everton have, home and away. I swear that is the only chant, even when it came down to the Amex, that's the only chant they sang, and I'll be honest, I think it's absolute, if people think that this is a good atmosphere, I think it's a myth. It must be a myth, surely. Do you agree? Thank you very much. It isn't great, and when like Everton beat us 3-1, they beat us 2-0 or something, no chants were being sung at all. I'm sorry, there was no chants whatsoever, and I just don't think Everton's atmosphere is great at all. Now, one I'm going to be putting in the great atmosphere is actually going to be Wolverhampton Wanderers, and I think this is a good atmosphere. Not just a good atmosphere, I think it's a great atmosphere. And at a 0-0 versus Brighton, where they were encouraging their team forward to go and push on for the goal for them to win, even though they didn't win, they got the 0-0 draw in the end. I think their fans was really good, and especially the ones behind the goal. I thought it was a great atmosphere from Wolves, if I'm being honest, and I was impressed. I'll be honest, I was impressed. They don't just have that one song, they have a lot of other songs too, which goes in the. I'm not sure. I can't give really good examples of it, but I think Wolves' atmosphere is really good from what I experienced last year. So for me, I'm going to put them as a great atmosphere. I've never actually been to Sheffield United, and I never really watched videos to do with Sheffield United or atmosphere. So I'm going to be honest. So Sheffield United fans, any of you watching the video, I'm just going to put you as the okay atmosphere. Slap bang in the middle, just because I have never been to a Sheffield United game. I don't know what your atmosphere is like at all, so I think it's unfair if I put you as shit or tin pot or great or proper atmosphere, because I've never actually heard it. Now this is going to be I think this is going to be 1-2, which I think people are going to disagree with me on, but I think as a proper atmosphere as a whole, Liverpool are up there as one of the top. That Cop End, when it gets rocking and when it's against all these good clubs, all that etc. Maybe against the teams like Brighton it isn't the best, but even against Brighton there were songs out there and were chants out there which rung around the stadium which were quite class. And I think if you're doing that against a team like Brighton, where the whole stadium is singing, then I think that is pretty class from you. And I think that is a proper atmosphere from Liverpool home and away. They are really good set of supporters in terms of atmosphere. Manchester United, I'm going to be putting that as a tin pot atmosphere. Like, there's no words needed. It's just shocking. I'm just going to be moving on. That is shocking. I said I wasn't going to be biased, so I'm going to be doing it honestly. When I was at Brighton Palace, it wasn't the best. It wasn't. I'm not going to be like, when we were at Brighton Palace, it was not the best, if I'm being totally honest with you. So for me, Crystal Palace, I'll put you as an okay atmosphere, and that's a push. I just think even when Crystal Palace equalised for 1-1 back at Selhurst Park, there weren't really any chants which were like, oh, you're loud, you're this, you're that. It really wasn't anything like that. And I think for a derby, in terms of their own supporters, it was piss poor from them, if I'm being honest. But when you see videos ring around with Crystal Palace on the internet, etc., it does look alright, if I'm being honest. Home and away, it looks alright, but at home, it just looks a bit dodgy at times. Norwich City. Now, you know how much I kind of despise Norwich, in some sort of sense. People think I actually really despise them. I just hate them for the fact that it's like, people say, oh, why don't you support your local team, you support Norwich? No, just shut up. But I've been to a lot of Norwich games in the Championship, to be fair, in the away end, so not in the Norwich end, okay, in the away end. And I'll be honest, Norwich atmosphere, it is great, and I'm going to be honest, it was a good atmosphere, and I'm surprised I'm not actually rating that as a proper atmosphere, because in the Championship they were class. But when you see attendances from when they were shit to attendances when they were good, the difference in that was unbelievably different. So I think for me, Norwich as a great atmosphere will be quite good. But a chant with On the Ball City needs to be expired. It needs to be liquidated as soon as possible. Chelsea, oh god, I'm gonna put this as a shit atmosphere. It's not the greatest, it's not the best, and it's not okay. I think it's shit. I went last year when obviously I think we lost 3-0 or something. I can't remember, it was like 3 or 4-0. I think it was 3-0 actually. So yeah, I'm putting Chelsea shit. It's not the best at all. I just think all these top 6 clubs aren't good apart from Liverpool, if I'm being totally honest with you. So with Arsenal's, I'm actually going to put it as an okay one, but the only Arsenal games I really go to is the North London derbies and the big games, etc. And in the big games, they do turn up, Arsenal fans. North London derby was absolutely electric. So for me, if it was in terms of a North London derby, I'll put Arsenal as a proper atmosphere. The pre-match atmosphere in the concourse is absolutely class. But if you're talking as an every single week, I'm going to put them as an okay atmosphere. I'm going to put them as an okay atmosphere too, in all, to be honest, because I think for what they have, for their ground, they have alright fans, and I've only been once in the cup, and they weren't the greatest in that game, but I think that's because Brighton literally outsang them because of the game, how the game went of it, etc. I just could hear the Bournemouth fans, etc. But I think as an everyday game, Bournemouth have a good set of fans, and I think for me, an okay atmosphere for Bournemouth would be a fair one to give them. Southampton, I just don't know what to put with Southampton, because I'll put them as a great atmosphere, because when I went to St Mary's last year, it was 2-2. They went 2-0 up, and I think their fans with the Go Marching In chant, I thought that was a good chant they were singing in terms of the volume of the whole stadium. And there was some other chants too which they were singing, but I think as an overall great atmosphere for Southampton would be a good one to reflect them as, because I don't think it's a shit atmosphere, and I don't think it could be as an okay atmosphere. But for me, I think I'm going to be putting Southampton as a great atmosphere, because I think at St Mary's it's a good atmosphere. It's got some good volume to it when it does get lively, and I think Southampton's at the right place in this tier. Tottenham Hotspur, I've only been once, and that was last year, and you could say that was good. I'm going to re-rank them as an okay atmosphere with Arsenal, with Bournemouth, with Palace, with Sheffield United, Burnley and Brighton. I think at the new stadium, when Eriksen scored that win in the 88th minute, 89th minute, it did just get electric after that. And I know it was only a 5 minutes later till the full-time whistle was blown, but I do think Tottenham's atmosphere before and encouraging the team was really good, and I know that was one of the first nights at the new stadium. But as a whole, I think Tottenham have an alright atmosphere in terms of their new stadium, for being totally honest. It leaves me with this last debatable one, which is Newcastle United, and for me it's a difficult one to predict because I just don't think, with Brighton, when we played against them at that time when we drew 0-0 against them, it wasn't the greatest at all, and I could not hear Newcastle fans whatsoever. So from my experience, I will be putting them as a shit atmosphere, and that is only because of how they performed against Brighton. It was a 0-0 result, it was a dead atmosphere because it was a dead game, and I can't really put you any higher than that because I've got no evidence to put you higher in that table, if you get what I mean. So that's going to be it of this video of the tier listing. The debatable ones for me, I guess you're going to point out, it's going to be like Everton, Watford, maybe Newcastle, West Ham, and teams in the okay one too, and maybe Southampton and Norwich in the great atmosphere too. But that is going to be it of this video. This is what I think is meant to be like, you know, the top atmospheres in the Premier League. Let me know what you think down in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions on this one. If you enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like, share this video out to friends and family, etc. And make sure you subscribe. Leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in another video. Goodbye, guys.